David Fine Media, taking the spoken word to the next level.
It's the show made by custom fans for custom fans. Every show, a special guest joins the guys to talk about customs, wrestling, memories, and more. And now, the starting lineup for the Bad Boys of Podcast. Introducing, from Sydney, Australia, standing 6 feet tall, weighing in at 220 pounds, he is the Plan, Sash Man. Next, from parts unknown, his weight is at $1.98 a pound, the big Storian himself, Brother Brutus Valentine. And now, hailing from Music City, weighing in at none of your damn business, the man of 1,000 voices, the apprentice, talking Tyler Peters. And rounding out this fearsome foursome, the leader, the Pod Daddy, the ruler of Lady Droolers. Give it up, give it up, give it up for Mr. David So Fine. That's Tyler, Brutus, David, and Sash, the Figure Guys Podcast. Oh yeah!
Welcome into another exciting edition of the Figure Guys Podcast. I am the Pod Daddy, David Fine, the man to my left, the Plan, Zash Man, the man to my right, the talking Tyler Peters. He is what do we call you, the apprentice. And if you saw the beginning or the pre-show, you will be laughing your ass off on this show. Of course, below Zash, we have from Hunting Nostalgia, the great Nick Bartley, the man in the middle, the man below me. Welcome into the show, Jeremiah. How are you doing tonight, sir? And our main event, our probably the greatest guest that we've had in a long time, the great Bill Richardson. Guys, welcome into episode number 19 of the Figure Guys Podcast. And like I just said, if people saw the show before the show, the all-fair show, we're going to have a good time tonight. Zash, it's number 19, and we are 1 week away. I want to get this out of the way. We're 1 week away from Custom Mania. It's going to be next week. I mean, it's going to be an amazing show tonight.
Ooh, yeah. It's so close you can touch it. Custom Mania is right there, guys. It's the prize money's just going up and up. These people that want to be involved, these people that are going, hey, look, I want to throw some cash into this event and make the prize even tastier than what it is. We've had Jeremiah today chuck in some money. He's chucked in some money. We've thrown that into the second prize draw. We've had Derek Danforth. He's come in and said, I want to be a part of this, thrown in some money as well. The event's getting bigger and bigger. I can tell you now, we've gotten a lot of entries already, and I haven't seen a bad one. They are all fantastic, and I'm not going to say too much more about it, but I can tell you it's going to be a fantastic comp. Entries are in by Sunday, the 27th, which is this coming Sunday. And next Monday's podcast is going to be Custom Mania podcast. We're starting Custom Mania on that podcast next week. So you have to tune in 10 p.m. next week. And we're going to start the whole Custom Mania event off. And we're going to show the figures live. And it's going to be a massive event. We've got big intros. We've got... it's just going to be amazing. Your mind's going to be blown. So Custom Mania starts next week.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be amazing. I mean, of course, we have Nick Bartley on the program tonight. He is going to be one of the panelists. He's going to be filling in for me when I am away. I will not be able to be on the show for 3 of the 4 shows, but I will be here next week. Nick, welcome into the program. And
thanks, man.
I mean,
it's exciting. That's awesome.
I mean, he not only has an amazing YouTube show, but it's a legit TV program. Can you just give a little bit of background on that, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes of the podcast tonight?
Sure. Yeah. I have a show, Hunting Nostalgia, and it is on in like the northeastern United States. There's 1.1 million people in our network, in our complete network. We average about like 64,000 viewers per episode. It's me looking around in people's attics and basements and going to see all kinds of different collections, not just wrestling, but everything. And it's a lot of fun. I love it. It's absolute blast.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a show worth looking at. Just type in Hunting Nostalgia on YouTube, and I mean, it's the only hunting nostalgia show. It's the best one I've seen. I mean, it's great. I mean, great editing, great. It's just great. I'm not being prejudiced. I'm not saying that just because we're good friends, but it's just a great show. And we'll get back to some of the stuff that we've always talked about each and every week. And we've asked our guests, have you found something in the wild? We will get back to your recent wild, pickups that you've got, because you don't buy anything on eBay or any of these kind of buy, trade, and sell stuff. So we'll get back to that in a minute. But Jeremiah, I just wanted to welcome you into the program. I mean, I know we have a great and loyal viewership, but you told me something in the pre-show. You only watch one podcast on YouTube, and this is the show. I just want to thank you for being a loyal watcher and listener each and every week.
Cheers, man. It's good to be here.
And like Zash says, you've thrown in some money in the kitty, for the contest, Custom Mania, which starts next week. I wanted to thank you. I mean, you didn't have to do that, but out of the kindness of your big heart, you decided, hey, I'm gonna throw in some money and make it even better. And then Bill, I mean, you have an amazing collection of figures behind you. Before, I just want to ask the first question, and I ask this to every person on the when we come on the air. Did it play a big part in your life? Did you watch it as a kid?
Yeah. So, when was I born? 78. So, like when I'm 5 or 6, 7, a wrestling age, when you're all into it and you think it's real and you think it's bigger than life. It was like a WrestleMania 2 and 3, and we were talking about Orndorff on your pre-show, and that was like when he turned on Hogan to start that feud that really kicked off all the closed circuit buys and pay-per-views. I mean, that's right when I was in the thick of it. So, damn for sure, we were in a toy store one day, and they got these, toys, big old rubber wrestlers, right? And like they were in the bathtub, in the sandbox, in the backyard, in my bag, going to school. So yeah, I was into, you can tell a little bit of everything, but that was probably my number 2 toy growing up.
Yeah, I mean, it just brings back a lot of memories. I mean, I know everybody here on the panel, it brings back memories. I mean, you play with figures with your kids, or you just collect them as an adult. It just brings back memories. But Tyler, the consummate journalist, he's our go-to guy for all the questions. I know you got some great feedback and some great questions to ask Bill tonight.
Yes, Bill, I was going to ask on behalf of the panel, what are some of the new LJNs maybe from that you've been collecting, or has there been any of the new wrestlers as far as LJNs, any lines, that maybe you have in your collection? Because as we can tell, you've got so many. So I think we're all just interested to learn more about that.
So the last LGN I got was like a Bruno Sammartino. The distribution up in Detroit was weird. It's like I remember seeing Johnny V, but I never saw the ref. It's like I saw some Series 5 and I see a lot of them. So when I got back in these groups, I didn't even know what the hell a Blackstrap Andre was, right? Or a Warrior, all these things. Holy shit, they made this one and they made that one, they made this one. And then guys were throwing customs out there. So there was a minute I couldn't tell what the hell was, real and what was a custom. And I had like all, you call them your commons now. Like that's what I remember. Like that's what kind of brought me back into it. Like the Hakus and that, they're cool and they're valuable and whatever, but that's not a part of my childhood. So basically anything past like Series 4 was all new to me getting back into the hobby. If you years ago, right after the prices jumped, of course, because that's how my life works out.
Yeah, and speaking of the price jumps, is the price jumps. I'm not sure if it's COVID, if it's just recently. Has that stopped you from collecting it? The price of LJNs is. I'm not sure about other figure lines, but especially LJNs. The prices have gone up tremendously. I'll see like you said, a blackstrap Andre going for like $1,500 or whatever on online and Facebook and eBay. Has it kind of hindered your collecting of any type of figure with the price of everything going up so much?
No, I'm rich. I don't know if I told you guys that. No, I'm just teasing. No, everything I like is like high as a giraffe's ass. Joe's, LJN's, Hasbro's, it's all ridiculous, right? He-Man is probably cheap because I've never got back into a He-Man, even though I was into it as a kid. A few years ago, I actually completed the LJN run. I had everything, and we were doing some raffles in a group I used to be in. I'm not anymore. And you say I got boxed out of that one. Now I got my own group. Away we go, right? We're off and running. So, but I wanted to, we wanted to raffle off a whole run of a Series 6. I'm like, oh, well, these things are cheap. I can go out and I get them. And it was like, as I was raffling them off, the prices were jumping and jumping and jumping. So I did that. I did some trades. I did a few things, and I ended up with probably 12 short of the full run. And getting back into it was a bear. This was over 2 years ago. I finished it up in the spring. I was able to get a hold of a blackstrap for a decent price, and that got me back to a complete. So it slows you down. I'll never get into the MOC side of things, but I tend to set a goal. I want, like my goal is to get the LJNs done this year. I think it's reasonable. My Hasbro's are just trash. Hasbro's. I've got like every common Hasbro that's like on the planet, not worth more than $5. I just can't do it right now. It's not that important to me. I hated them growing up because I was tight with the LJN. That's what I wanted. That's what I had as a kid. And these damn little plastic ones that come in, these things suck. They're all stiff and they don't move and they spring. I hated them as a kid. And I was getting out of toys at the time. So I guess from that perspective, it kind of keeps you from getting into something new, something you're not really passionate about. But I tend to laser in on one thing and then put all the money there. And once that's done, I'll move on to the next goal.
Yeah, one last question, then I'm gonna throw it over to Zash. And it looks like Bill and Jeremiah. It looks like you have a massive collection behind you. And Nick, this is all out to you three. How many figures in your collection do each one of you have?
Oh my! I have no idea. There, that's all I can say. I don't know. That's about it. I don't know. I have no idea.
So that answer is a lot.
Yeah, I could not even begin to guess. I couldn't even begin to guess.
I sold my entire Hasbro collection to get all of the customs that I got. That's all the faces.
That's awesome.
There's the Fujis. And there's all the heel shelves with the managers. All I care about is LJNs. I don't collect any other toys, figurines, or any other.
Awesome. Yeah. That's another podcast. That's Tyler's podcast. He talks about what is that? Precious Moments.
Hey, exactly. That's coming in very soon. By the way,
that's number 2 in the ratings.
I feel like there's a box of Cabbage Patch Kids somewhere.
That's exactly right, Jeremiah. There's a segue. Yeah, Cabbage Patch Kids, you name it, we've got it, and the show's going to tank. Yeah,
but Bill, how many would you say? I know you collect more than just wrestling figures. How many wrestling figures would you say? Just a guesstimate. Doesn't have the exact number.
A couple hundred, maybe. I do have the complete. I got the LJN run. I got a retro run from a couple of years ago. The Mattels. 40, 50 Hasbros, maybe just a couple hundred. The thing that sucks is I'm kind of a completist. So like if I can't get into a full line, I don't typically go after them. So like I'm a little bit into the Remcos, but there's some of that stuff is just, through the roof price wise. So I don't know. I'll put it at a couple hundred. I just like to look at them, man. I lose count after a while,
I mean, I understand. And Zash, I mean, you look like you have something on the tip of your tongue with your Vegemite sandwich or Vegemite sign back there, or not sign, but it's a what is it? Blanket?
It's a blanket. There's no Vegemite on the tip of my tongue, but I have got some questions for Bill. Bill, I've known you for quite a while on Facebook, but never actually seen your face. I've seen some of your videos. Your administration of Rubber Rumble Group. I think you were one of the creators of the group, if I'm not mistaken. And you do some custom work. You actually do quite a few videos on Rubber Rumble, and where I can, I watch your videos. They're quite interesting. Can you explain to the viewers about maybe your customizing side of things, and if you've got any sort of tips or anything you can explain? Because you portray yourself quite well on these videos. I think a lot of people learn some stuff from you.
Thanks. Appreciate it. I don't see myself as having an ounce of artistic ability, but I always thought they were cool. Like I said, when I got back into groups, I got tight with a guy. Guy sold me my first custom, Joey Schaefer, the 8-inch king, if you will. Sold me it was a Deadpool. Then he did the Brooklyn Brawler. Then he did a Honky Tonk Man and the ring gear. This was like 2016, 17. And he used all original parts. This was before a lot of the molding and the casting got to be pretty common. And I was like, you literally couldn't tell that it was made off of different, pieces and parts. And I was just captivated. I was like, man, this is nice. And I kind of wanted to do it because we would talk for hours, what would you use? I would help him pick out parts, right? He would say, how do you make a DiBiase and this or that, ring gear? I'm like, well, I would use this. I would use that. Like mentally, it kind of made sense to me, but, I couldn't paint a square on a flat wall, so I was like, I'm not going to get into it. And he kind of helped me get started. And so my perspective is, I don't have a lot of time to practice. I don't have a lot of natural ability, but I try to make myself available for the people that want to try it, want to get into it, but don't really think that they can jump into it. And it's intimidating kind of when you got you and Joe and Caleb and them guys in the world that just pump out these, retail quality customs. I just try to create like a safe space for people to go. And if they fuck it up, then they fuck it up and they move on to the next one. And so be it. Just try, have fun, be proud of it, be proud about what you do. My problem is I have the patience of a gnat. So all the fine detailing and the 7 days of sanding, like Joe was talking about when he was on here, I have a hard time with that. So typically I can teach a little bit better than I can do because I start to rush or I start to blow off, a sanding, and my stuff doesn't come out as good as I want it to. And everyone's, their own worst, critic. So that's how I got into the videos, was just, everyone's pretty open. I think if you ask anybody for help and, say, hey, try this or I do that. But I just try to get some content out there that people that are new, that are, timid or shy, or they're not confident in their work and can, have something that they can pause and rewind and go back to and whatever. So that's what started those videos, is me just trying to be out there for the newcomers.
Talk to us a little bit about the Rubber Rumble competition. I think it started a couple of years ago. Was that your idea or Joey's idea? And how did that start?
It was all my idea, 100%. Don't let them tell you anything different. No, I'm just teasing. That's we talk. I think every admin team's got a group chat, and we was just chatting and say, it'd be cool to do a competition. And then we got to brainstorming, and I wanted to compete, and Joey wanted to compete. We didn't know who else was going to show up, so we just threw it together. And kind of learn as we went. It was a lot of back and forth, a lot of, I don't want to say conflict, but you know what the hell we were doing. You know, we were just trying to figure it out as we go. So my entry into that competition was actually the worst custom I've ever done in my life. I'll talk about it in a minute because it's so bad. I set it on fire, rightfully so.
Was that the first one or the second one?
The first one. I was kind of disappointed in the one from last year. So, but going back to the first one, I know it came down to Joe did a Andre updated more to scale Andre the Giant, and Joey Schaefer did a very simple but very well done Macho Man with he had a finger up, the finger point. And really, we let it go to the group, and Joey ended up winning the first ever custom competition from the Rubber Rumble. So then some guy came in last year, raising hell, and took the trophy overseas. But the hell that guy's name was, I forget. But
he doesn't need a bigger head. Don't worry, mate. Don't have to mention him.
Yeah. So we did it again last year. We had a little bit of a better idea what to do, how to kind of run through it, and some people that were being a little problematic the first time weren't around this time, and it was a little more. I think the quality of the customs were a little bit sharper. You know, there's by this point we had a little more of the head casts. And a couple of things. Sorry, I just kicked the table. A couple of things that people have learned really at the quality. Now, what I did, and again, I should have took my time more. I did. I realized that the Amigos that were released in a Target, they did like the Golden Girls and all that. Well, they did a Muhammad Ali, and what I wanted to do was the Muhammad Ali. I'm a big Ali fan. From WrestleMania 1. And so at this point, the blue shirt refs were going for like 85 or $90, which is nuts to spend on a fodder, right? So I found a deal on eBay where the guy had two of them. They were, the paint was scuffed to hell, which was fine because I was going to redo them anyway. I got two of them for $120. So it's pretty simple. I got the Ali Amigo and popped the head off and added some girth to his chin to make him look a little older, and didn't really go over well. I think I didn't mix my paint good for the skin tone. It just didn't. It looked good. I think I put too much a finish on it, too much gloss, but actually it looks a lot better in person. It doesn't really pop on that camera. I say that about the customs that don't go over too well. I say, well, it's not fair. You got to see them in that person, because no one's ever going to see them. So, that's my out.
It's true what you say, though. Sometimes you can take a photo and it looks nice, and then other times you think that's not what it looks like in real life. I just can't get it how it really looks.
I'm glad you said that, because I did a Bischoff that just looks like ass on every picture that I post to it. Right? Like I can't get it, but I see it. Like I'll hold it in my hand, and it looks clean. Like it looks decent. But something about what the camera picks up. So, as you know, it came down to you and your awesome Bret Hart, which I think you just sold, right? Not too long ago, or traded, or got that ribbon. Oh, yeah. It went to Jeremiah. That's right. That's right. Awesome. So that was a great, a competition for this year. I know the LJM for Life had a custom competition. You guys are running one out. I don't want to have to try to push anybody through custom competition fatigue. So I think we're going to wait, see how everyone's feeling towards the end of the year, right? Let everyone's hands heal up, from all the cutting and painting and all that. And plus it's, you're going to find out soon. It's a lot of work, and we weren't really up for it. You guys got it kind of locked down, so we're going to let you run with it, and we'll see what we do maybe next year.
I just got to chime in. That right there is what I love about this. I'm an artist, I'm a rapper, but my experiences on the internet in those realms are not positive like this. There's always that group of people who are trying to tear people down. And I haven't come across one person yet in all of the groups that I've been in, all the interactions I've had, it's always people trying to teach each other, lift each other up. That's why I want to donate money to this. That's why I want to give back to it. That's why I want to help Zash with projects in the group, because to me, that's amazing. I've never experienced it anywhere on the internet. So I'm just so grateful to be in that space.
Yeah, Zash and I, we've agreed, and Tyler's agreed that folks, this is about having fun and building a community. I mean, we are talking about wrestling figures. I mean, custom wrestling figures. We're not talking about life altering things. We're not saving lives. We're having fun. I mean, and to get back to wrestling figures, and for everybody here on the program, when you were growing up and now that you're an adult, did you think that you would have this much fun collecting wrestling figures at your age right now? And Nick, you if you want to start, did you think?
Yeah,
I did too. When you're a kid, you watch that movie. I forget what the movie. Tom Hanks. He's jumping on a trampoline in his living room, and he what was that movie called?
Big. I think it was Big. And I looked at it and I think that's what I want to be when I grow up. I want to still be into these toys. But sorry, Nick, I didn't mean to chime in and cut you off.
No, that's great.
That's what made me think
awesome.
Of it.
Yeah, I mean, I've always known that I was going to be a lunatic. I guess not necessarily collecting, but I mean, I'm not against laying on the floor playing with them. It doesn't matter to me one bit. And I've always wanted to keep them for the rest of my life. I mean, that's my ring from whenever I was a kid.
Damn.
I love that.
That's awesome.
And I knew for a fact that I would never let them leave my possession. I've never let any toy leave my possession, ever.
That's
ever.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, and we've run into some people on the show that, their wives or, better halves are amazing and let them collect, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, Jeremiah, growing up, I mean, now that you're an adult, can you believe that you collect wrestling figures? I mean, when you look back in, when you're a kid, who would have thought now you'd have such a massive collection?
I don't want to get all deep on you, but I had no idea this would happen. It's only been a couple of years. I was in a really bad place, and my therapist told me to find something from my childhood to change my perspective and realize there were good things. And I was in an antique shop one day, and I saw a junkyard dog and an Orndorff, and I lost my shit. And I bought them, and I came home, and I met Duarte online a couple days later, and I've just been buying everything he's replacing since then. And it just lit a fire in me, and it totally did work. It changed my perspective about, holy shit, there were good parts of my childhood, and everything in my life has changed because of this discovery.
Cool.
I mean, yeah. I mean, folks.
I envy that you still have your stuff from when you were a kid. Because when I was 13, I sold all of that shit for drug money. And it took me years and years to get away from that garbage life I was living. And it was literally the wrestlers that brought me all the way back full circle.
Not just the wrestlers. It was specifically that JYD, brother. You got that right.
It was rooting against this guy.
Don't you forget it, brother.
It was rooting against this guy.
WWF. Ho, ho, ho.
Tyler, you may have a rival for your impersonations of.
No, he is a rival. That's an impressive JYD. That I'll tell you, I've watched some of Nick's stuff. He's very good, man.
Hey, Nick,
I've met my match. Yeah,
Nick, do you do anything else? I mean, do you do a Hulk Hogan? I mean, Jeremiah just showed up. Do you do a Hulk Hogan?
No, Hogan. I mean, no, not specifically Hogan. Other wrestlers. I think
he's got a Macho Man.
Yeah, Macho Man's. Yeah, I think my other best probably voice wrestler wise is probably Jesse Ventura, if I can do it. Sorry, my throat's done a little bit, but I'll try it. He wasn't coming out to help Hogan Monsoon. He was coming out after Adonis.
Man, hey, I thought we were watching WrestleMania. Yeah,
I mean, folks.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's good, man.
Hey, folks. I mean, you don't get this anywhere else. I mean, and just think, you're going to get this a lot more starting next week for Custom Mania. Nick is going to be on the panel. So, I mean, if there's any voices that you would like him to do, just send them to thefigureguys@gmail.com, and I will pass it along to him. And maybe one of your favorite LGNs will end up on the program. But I mean, it's Bill, you don't do any impersonations, do you?
No.
I think that was an impersonation.
Yeah, I respect that with that, the honesty.
That was some stone cold shit. No.
Yeah.
That was. Yeah.
Hey, Tyler, I know you have some more questions for Bill tonight.
Yes, Bill. I was just going to ask you, and I know this is probably a silly question. You probably get asked this a lot, but has there been a favorite LJN? I'm just going to go ahead and ask it of yours. I mean, as far as how many you have. I mean, my goodness.
It's a simple too. It's JYD was my favorite as a kid. He's my favorite now. It's that was my guy growing up. That's who I wanted to have the belt, and I could never figure out, not knowing, as you get older, you figure out how the business works. But man, it's like I wanted that guy to win every night, and I wanted everything for a JYD. He was my guy, so that was the second or third one I bought. As a kid, as a grown up, was a JYD. It was clean, and I got a belt from Nick David, like you were talking about earlier, and he's got a gold wing belt in my case over here, over my shoulder. So that was the one for me. A Superfly was one too. Just a funny story. I thought the kids up the street from me. They were probably 13 or 14. I was 7, 8. And they show me these, like a Playboy, right? Like, look at these boobs, right? And they're showing me all these girls, these Playboy books, and I was like, it's cool. So these guys, 6, 7 years older than me, they turn around. It's like, now, give us your Superfly, or else we're going to tell your mom. And they literally like held me up, not by gunpoint, or whatever, but they're like, give me this. I'm like, well, shit, I don't want to get in trouble. So reluctantly, I gave up my the Superfly, and wow. Sure enough, I'm at a comic book store in my early 20s, just kind of farting around. And there was a Superfly and a bunch of other ones, probably at this point, thousands of dollars worth. But all I saw, I focused in on a Superfly, and it was over. So I got my Superfly back. I remember giving them a farewell match. And I still, to this day, if I run into them, my bastards, then they're going to get a receipt. But haven't run into them yet. Probably never will, but I got bullied straight out of my Superfly, so he's probably number 2.
Wow!
I can hear the glass shattering, Bill. I think Jeremiah was onto something. You are a stone cold, my friend. Because I like it. Somebody's going to get a receipt. I can just tell.
Yeah, stone cold if you don't work out ever. That's kind of my gimmick. There you go.
Hey, I love it. Copyright it right now.
And continue that Nick David shout out if I can quickly. Yeah. I got a bunch of belts today from Nick David. He's going to be making a Custom Mania belt for us as well for the winning figure of Custom Mania. So I just want to show you guys a couple of quick belts that he's made for my figures. If you guys want any belts, contact Nick David on Facebook, and he will look after you. He'll give you some of the best belts for your old Jans.
Yeah,
I mean he's definitely he, like as I said, he's sending a Custom Mania belt for whoever wins Custom Mania. It's an LJN size belt. It's amazing. And he sent you one, Zash. I mean, it's not the same one that the winner's going to get, but it's an amazing version of what he does a great job.
Definitely. Yeah.
I got to tell you too, I've had mine now for about 2 years and it still sticks. It hasn't peeled off. I mean, they're great quality.
Absolutely. He uses great products on his belts. I don't know what it is, but the Velcro seems to last and everything seems to last on it. So, you can't go wrong with a Nick David belt.
Yeah. I mean, another question that we had for Bill, that Tyler, just a great journalist. He said, have you ever found a figure that was a Marvel character made out of a pro wrestling custom? Was it?
Oh yeah, I got a Deadpool and I got a Punisher. Joy did those both. It's funny when he did that Deadpool. That's how we started talking. And I was early enough in the game where, like, you know, I think you get in a phase as a collector where you see a custom. The first fucking thing you do is try to figure out what parts came from what, right? To make the custom. It's like, oh, that's a chic, you know, that's a blah, blah, blah. And I thought this thing was so cool. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what it was. And I guess ironically, because I just told a story, it was a Superfly. And, you know, he did all the belts and all the, you know, a utility belt, I guess you call it, and all the weapons. And I still got it to this day. And he did me a Punisher that, you know, is kind of my favorite superhero from Marvel. So I got 2 actually, and I'll probably keep them. You know, those are NFS, as the kids say.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's definitely amazing. And switching over to Nick, we were talking that I ask this each and every week to all of our guests. What is the strangest and most unique, and I guess the rarest, or it could be even not rare, just your recent find in the wild? I mean, you know, you find it, you know, at a garage sale, what somebody's basement, because I know that you don't buy anything off eBay or any of those the buy sell trade. You actually go out and find it, but you've recently found 3 in the wild. Can you just show everybody at home and which ones that you have found recently on your on the Hunting Nostalgia Show?
Sure, I found the Bendy Brutus, but the problem is that they all smell like cigarette smoke so bad. Like, any tips, anybody, to get the? It is bad. Like, so cigarette-y. It's unbelievable.
Bill, you got some ideas about getting the smoke off, don't you?
Yeah, I've never tried it, but I hear you take a strong fabric sheet and throw it in a Ziploc for days, like 2 or 3. It's supposed to absorb some of that, and then it just kind of covers it. It gets you back to neutral.
Very nice. Now, whenever they smell like BO, when someone's just rubbed them for 35 years, when it smells like that, you can get that out with boiling water, like plopping them in boiling water, real briefly, and then ice water. They smell like you just opened them up. But that's BO. That has to be human scent. Try it. There you go. Hey, I'll try anything. I've never smelled cigarette damage like this in my life. It's awful.
Yeah, I mean, nothing like buying an LJ or anything that's been in a smoke-filled house. It's just, I mean, I've never, you know, of course, since I don't have a big collection like yourself. I mean, it's just weird. I mean, Jeremiah, have you ever run into that? I mean, most of your collection, I mean, is it bought, you know, through auctions, or is it stuff that you found, like you've gone around and, you know, maybe a flea market or a antique? I mean, besides the one that you found at the antique store, but
for the most part, I did everything. I basically filled everything but the last series in about 3 months, and then started with customs. And then I just ordered customs or like resins or of the 6, the last series, whatever it is, 6. But the best thing I found in the wild here in Canada, we got a toonie, a $2 coin, and I got the Big Boss Man near mint for $2 at a yard sale.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, they were all $2. It was like 15 figures, $2 a piece.
Oh man.
I am not the guy who's going to be like, that's worth more. Do you want more? Nope. Fuck that. I was in my car.
Yeah. I mean, it's always fun. I mean, I've gone to a couple where you're like, oh man, there's whoever it is, but the people who are selling them they've done the research. I mean, I'm not the one to be like, well, you should have, I'm not going to buy this for $5 when you could sell it for, for $200. I'm just going to, hey, if they're not doing their due diligence and research, then I mean, it's their loss. I mean, we're having a lot of people giving advice to Nick about getting the smoke. It says supposedly Ziploc with baking soda and put in the freezer. I mean, that's just another. And then Brian has another one that says put them outside in the sun as well. I mean, I'm not sure any of those tips will work, but I mean, it's.
Hey, I appreciate it. I'm going to try whatever I can try. I mean, It's bad. They were at least a 2-pack a day, or these guys.
Nick, if all else fails, give them to me, mate. I'll just cover them in paint. That will stop the smell.
Hey,
I
I find beat up ones all the time, just so beat up. It's crazy.
mean, Zash, have you ever found one that smells like smoke or any other non-rubber smell?
I've actually gotten quite a few figures from Dwight that smell really smoky. I don't know what's going on in his house, mate, but I think it's a Dutchie in there or something, because everything you get from Dwight's smells like smoke.
I've bought a ton of stuff from him, and I've never had that. And I've been in his house. His collection is beautiful.
Come on, mate. He's been on this podcast, and you can barely see him through the smoke.
That's weed, bro.
Yeah, same thing.
What kind of podcast is this?
That's a way better smell, though.
Oh, that's going to be on your Precious Moments podcast. We're going to have DeWard on there.
Hey, we want to
I need liquor, boys. I'll be right back.
Hey, so how do you get smoke out of Precious Moments? Is there, Tyler? Is there any advice you could give people?
You throw them in the garbage.
There you go. Bill's got the answer, because I really didn't have one. That's how great that was going. I don't have a clue. Any suggestions? Michael Weems, where's he at?
I mean, Michael Weems is not. He's been kind of silent on Facebook tonight. Hey, Michael, if you're watching, we need your comedy on the podcast tonight. But I mean, we're having some. I mean, everybody is chiming in. Russell Kelly says, put them in a Rubbermaid and pour a little Febreze over them. Leave them 24 hours, then put them outside in the air for 24 hours. So, 48 hours, you'll have hopefully a BO or a smelled-free, a smoke-free figure. Because I guess no one's gonna. I mean, I guess whenever you bought these, Nick, that smelled like smoke, I would assume you didn't pay a lot for them. Hopefully.
Oh, a little bit more than I would have liked to have paid for One Man Gang here, but yeah, this was at a toy show. These were at a toy show. So they were toy show prices, but they weren't horribly bad. One Man Gang here was like $35, I believe, which isn't awful, but for that smell, he's bad. But Rick Martel here was $30, so I was happy about that.
No, bargain. I'd like to ask the viewers.
Smelling them over and over.
I'd like to ask the viewers something, if possible, guys. I've got a friend that watches a lot of YouTube. He virtually doesn't watch TV at night. He just watches YouTube. He's saying that there is a Barbie collector that is a man who has the biggest Barbie collection in the world. And he's asking me, can we get him on the show? So viewers, what do you think? Should we get this man who's the world's biggest Barbie collector to come on and tell us about the Barbies and have a chuckle? Or would it be just mind-bogglingly terrible? Let's hear your thoughts, guys. Barbie guy or no Barbie guy? Yes or no?
I mean, I say yes because Brutus is on every week. So,
get ready to feel the wrath. Yeah, when he comes back. Whenever he comes back, Tyler will have a new date next week. But that's kind of the running joke. But no, I mean, it is funny how there are so many collectors. Like Bill said, there's Golden Girl. I mean, there's Golden Girls figures. I mean, they're collectors for everything. I mean, if they make it, I mean, that's where we've been trying to get a guy on. He does the 1/6 characters. I mean, the sculpts, and I mean, those are amazing. I mean, if it's a genre, people will make it and people will collect it. I mean, if we want to get that guy on there, I mean.
Absolutely. If we can get that guy on, he is a big hit. But also in the 1/6 scale, which is something that I'm starting to dabble in a little bit myself. If you guys have ever seen 1/6 scale figures, a lot of the customizers there are so ridiculously good. They look real life. You look at the eyeball and you think it looks more realistic than a real eyeball. But I've got a guy coming on the show who was going to enter Custom Mania. And in my views, he is the best customizer in any figures in Australia. His name's Nick Johnson. If you guys look up Nick Johnson, he's an Aussie guy. He teaches me a lot of stuff. He's an absolute guru. He does 1/6 scale figures. He's actually halfway through LJN figures for Custom Mania, but he told me last night, sorry, I'm not going to make it. I don't want the pressure of trying to rush these things. So he won't be entering. So that's going to be a relief on every single LJN customizer that's entering Custom Mania, because he was world class, and it would have been a real tough one to beat this guy.
Yeah, I mean,
he's going to be on our show in a few episodes down the track. If you guys tune into that one, I guarantee it'll be a real eye opener for you all.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those things that in season 2 of the podcast, which will be, we are. I mean, who would have thought? First year podcast, I knew with the great booker like the Plan Zash man. I mean, we're booked up until December 20th. I mean, we are booked solid with amazing guests, and we're looking. I know it's only June, but we're looking for suggestions for people that you want to see on the podcast in season 2, which starts January the 17th. We're already looking that forward ahead. I mean, we have some great guests. I mean, so we're not going to, not slide them, but I mean, whoever you would like to maybe be on season 2 or, be in the bullpen in case someone can't come on, just email me at thefigureguys@gmail.com and we will reach out to them. We already have some 1/6 scale people that we're talking to, some people that are hard to get on. I may even convince Cincy LJN to come on in the future. So, I mean, it's going to be amazing rest of the season. But, I mean, Dash, just want to thank you for doing such a great job booking until the end of the season.
Thanks, David. Appreciate that. It's been a great season so far. I mean, there's a long way to go. I don't even think we're halfway through the shows of this year. Mm-mm. It's going to be a big year. We've got a lot of people to come on the show.
And
just to answer Shad's question there, he's asked me, is that the guy that done the $1 Million Man? Well, Shad, with those kind of figures, there's a number of guys that are involved. One person might do the clothes. One person will do the head design or the artwork for the head. The other one will print the head. And then there's a painter guy. Well, the painter guy that did that $1 Million Man, he's the guy we're trying to get on the show. It's not Nick Johnson, but it is another guy that is sort of on par with Nick Johnson.
Is he an Aussie? MP
Nick
Paints
Johnson is an Aussie, yes.
So MP Paints or whatever, who did the DiBiase?
MP Paints is the guy that done the $1 Million Man. He's the guy that we would like to get on the show, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's real. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I mean, we're talking LJNs, but I mean, folks, if you've seen any of these 1/6 scale designs that they've put together, I mean, these things. I mean, I saw a John Candy that look just like John Candy from Uncle Buck, and I mean, as a hat, the shoes, the clothes. I mean, these things are in such great detail. It's mind blowing that the people with the detail and the precision that they, I mean, it has to take patience to put these things together.
They take a long time. I'm actually just starting to piece together my first 1/6 scale figure. It's going to be The Rock. So he's going to be my first 1/6 scale figure that I ever do. It's a real step up, the 1/6 scale in expectations and everything. If you make it look bad, then it's really not going to go down well with all the 1/6 guys. So you've got to really sort of step it up if you're going to be in that game. But Fowley said those 1/6 scales are creepy accurate. Yeah, they are creepy accurate. Yeah,
I mean, if you folks, if you haven't seen, I mean, they did in Harrison Ford from Indiana Jones. I mean, it looks. I mean, these things look like Brian said. Creepy, real. I mean, it's like, I mean, the LJNs, they kind of look somewhat like them, but these ones look, it's just like you took a laser gun and just made, shrunk that person down and made them into a small figure. I mean, they're just, I mean, the detail that it's just amazing. I mean, and I mean, if I had the patience to do this, then I don't, but I mean, it's amazing.
If you haven't seen MP Paints on Instagram, that's who did all of that stuff. I got lost on his Instagram for hours. The work is out of this world.
Yeah, I mean, his work is amazing. It's amazing. I mean, we're trying to get, like I said, get him on the show, but the time difference between from Zash to me to everybody. It's funny, and I want to get your comment, Zash. That there are a lot of customizers who are not from America, that that are from Europe, from Britain, from Australia. I mean, it seems to be an international thing. I mean, it's definitely represented worldwide.
It is. There's customizers all over the world, and yes, probably USA and Canada have the most of them, but it is spread out over the world, and not everyone are in the groups showing their figures either. These customizers that out there that are very good that don't go on these groups and might not be on Facebook. So it's not people get so involved in the groups that they think that the only customizers out there are the ones in the groups, but there is like artists out there the same as customizers. There's brilliant customizers out there that aren't in any of the groups and aren't known by anyone.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, like Jeremiah said, I mean, I've gotten lost in that Instagram, Facebook hole, and just gone for hours looking at these. I'm like, man, I don't know how these people have the patience or the skill to do that. But Nick, what is I wanted to ask all three of y'all, what is the most unique? It could be a wrestling figure, or it could be another type of figure. What is the most unique figure that you've found in on your show, or just in general?
Most unique. Well, I found an entire AWA collection that the guy at the pawn shop called Generic Wrestling Figures. That was a fun day. There was like 63 in there. It was ridiculous. And he called them generic. He said, yeah, he was a Yinzer from downtown Pittsburgh. He just wasn't being a good guy. He just was a jerk. And I walked in and I said, hey, any wrestling stuff? He goes, nope. I said, all right. So, yeah, he goes, actually, wait. He goes, over by the counter. He said, there's some generic ones. He goes, if you want them, you got to buy them all $5 each. And I looked in the bin and I said, $3 each. He goes, all right, take them. So walked out of there with a monster load of wrestling figures. That was probably the strangest one I would ever have encountered.
Yeah, and I mean, and since you're out there, doing hunting different stuff each and every episode and every week, give some advice like to people watching and listening. Where is your advice to find? I mean, is it just a crapshoot where you find the best figures, or have you found a honey hole, as they would say, a sweet spot that you could go like to a yard sale, to a garage sale, to an antique store, an estate sale? I mean, is it just all over the place that you find these?
Your childhood friends. That is the best place to find vintage toys, is your own childhood friends, because what they like is most likely what you liked. Mm-hmm. I found a King of the Ring Hasbro ring, which is ridiculously expensive, covered in bird poop in a barn with a big shamrock on the side of it. That was an awesome day in a barn.
I mean, I can't beat that. But Tyler, you have anything else that you got on the tip of your tongue?
Yeah, just one more question. I was just going to ask you guys, kind of segues into that last question of David's. I mean, before the internet age, I mean, going back to Nick with hunting nostalgia, and for Jeremiah and for you, Bill, I mean, how prevalent was it, like going to yard sales and all those things, finding all these, whether it's LJNs or figurines? I think that's what's neat. It's all the nostalgia. I mean, hunting nostalgia. There you go. Hey, who knew? But I just wanted to ask that. I mean, because I think that's a fair question. Before all the technological advantages, I mean, think about generations before us, get a little bit of that history. I think that's fascinating. I mean, were you guys doing that like you talked about, Bill? I think the magazine stores and all that, and these interesting stories. I just think our audience wants to hear a little bit of that as well. I mean, going back to what Nick was talking about, flea markets, everything, these and everything. So that's really what I wanted to leave on the table there, address all three of you. I think it's just interests me personally.
Yeah, to be fair, seems like the Detroit area is a little bit dry If you're not looking for a Sheik or a Volkov or a Big John stud, you may not find a whole lot out in the wild, as they say. Pre-internet, I was 12 or 13. I got to chase and trim, and just all of my childhood toys, I don't know where the hell they went. I wasn't even focused on them. And, when you're 18, 19, 20, you only got so much, money coming in, right? So it's hard to really allocate some of those dollars. So by the time I jumped back into it, eBay was a thing, and the groups weren't really a thing. But to be honest with you, 80% of what I buy is off of Facebook groups. It's just, you trust the people. You got, I've got people. I got a guy in North Dakota. I got a guy up in New York. I got a guy down in Florida. So you're a network kind of, builds. You save gas and you still find what you need. I love taking the day and going out and hitting fleas and garage sales and things of the sort. Just here, I don't know why. It could just be dumb luck. I've hit a couple scores on some other toy lines, but from the LJN side, the wrestling figures in general, really, I've always kind of come up a little bit lame at going out in the wild, but it's not for lack of trying.
Yeah, I can just remember collecting like the old music cassettes, whether it's country music, rock. So that's it takes me back too. I know it does with y'all. So that's why I kind of had to, ask that question, because I know, like, to your point, the Facebook groups, everything, we the stronger connections. But you always think, how did it work back then? We tend to forget we're spoiled with all this technology anymore. So
I only started collecting 3 years ago, so the internet was popping off.
Okay, yeah.
I bought all my customs online, but I didn't buy a single LJN online. I'm always driving, doing graffiti and street art, so I'm always moving. So 5 hours in every direction from my house. Everywhere I go, I stop at antique places. I started stopping at yard sales. Again, like 4 months, I think I had all of it except the last series.
Hey, well, that's awesome. All great answers, and it enlightens us. It's an education. So thank you.
Yeah, and before I'm going to throw it to Zash for one last thing in a minute, but before we do that, for everybody here on there, Nick, Jeremiah, and Bill, is there anything in the works that you're working on that you want to kind of just give out to the public? Any new figures you're working on? anything, or maybe anything that you're looking for? That someone could help you with, collecting.
I need a Harvey. Somebody hook me up with a Harvey Whippleman. I got money. I tried to make a Mountie out of an Outback Jack. I don't make customs. I buy them. I need a Harvey Whippleman.
Hey, Bill, you have anything in the works?
I'm working on currently the original Sheik, Ed Farhat. He was the main promoter for Big Time Wrestling, which was like the NWA sanctioned territory for Detroit. Way back in the day, he had a lot of goes with Bruiser Brody, Dick the Bruiser, Abdullah the Butcher, and I'm trying to overcome my main deficit, which is patience. So I'm taking like half an hour a day to sand, half an hour just here or there, really going slow there because I don't want to screw it up. I'm using a Volkov head. JYD torso, Valentine legs, and Sheik feet, obviously. So I'm going slow, and I work on it when I can. I don't want to feel rushed, so I don't know when it'll be done. I guess I'm looking for Hasbros that don't suck, that aren't $300 a piece. So I'm not going to hold my breath there. That's about it for me.
And
this moron here has been looking for my hat for about 3 weeks now. He just can't come up with it for me. What kind of toy hunter are you anyway? Listen, Ernest, I look all the time. I look all the time for your hat. Can anybody else out there find my hat, please? This moron here just ain't going to do it. He ain't going to do it. My friend Vern would have found. All right, Vern.
Folks,
watch Hunting Nostalgia on YouTube. We're going to have a website here in a couple weeks. A lot of fun. Going to be a lot of cool things on there. But, we release our episodes on YouTube the same day we release them here on television. So check them out.
Yeah, and speaking of Hasbros that suck, but this does not suck. The Hasbro. by Greenville Nash. I just got in the mail. Tyler, you should be getting your copy in the next couple of days. It is an amazing read. It's by Greenville Nash. It's published by the great fig historian himself, Brutus Valentine, and the company he works for. I call it the Hasbro Bible. I mean, the LJN Bible is by Brutus Valentine. Greenville Nash is the Hasbro Bible, a Hasbook Bible. It's amazing. I just got it today. I'm just going to probably read it after we get here off the air. But Zash, I know you wanted to end the program on a high note. What's coming up next week? I mean, I know next week, and then we're going to have 2 shows next week, and then 2 shows the week after that. Do you want to kind of talk about that?
Yeah, well, first I'll just answer a question Russell Kelly had today on the post, on the Custom Figures group post. I did say to him I would talk about it briefly in the podcast. He asked what I need to do to enter the competition. We have been putting this up every week, Russell. I don't know which rock you've been under, buddy, but look, I'm glad you came out of it. It's not too late, Russell. It doesn't matter if you've got some old customs there that you want to enter. We don't care. Just enter the comp, mate. You've only got 6 days left. It's the 27th, Sunday the 27th. By midnight, I'm not going to take anything after midnight. If you send me a custom at 1 o'clock in the morning, it's too late. It's a fair cutoff for everyone. Midnight's the cutoff. Give me 3 figures. We need a front pick, back pick, and both sides, and a close-up of the face. So just that one more time. Close-up of the face, front, back, side, side. That's all we need of each figure. 3 figures. So you need to send them by message to me. Also send them to Brutus if possible. Send them to both of us. 3 figures by Sunday, and you're in the competition. There's nothing else you need to do. Just send me pictures of the figures. We do the rest. There's big money on offer. These big trophies on offer. But we're not entering them. We're not having the comp for all the prizes. That's just a bonus. We're having some fun in this comp. The podcasts are going to be a ball. Everyone's going to enjoy watching it. I don't want people to feel pressure. Just enjoy the competition. The prizes, like I say, they're great, but they're just a bonus. We're going to have laughs. We're going to have giggles. We're going to enjoy this competition. And hopefully it runs smoothly. There'll be no upset parties if you didn't win. Look, at the end of the day, we've got Brutus counting the votes. It's public choice. The public decide. And what more can you say about it? It's a simple competition that's hopefully going to run smoothly.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to go smoothly. I mean, with Brutus Catton, he's probably the most honest person that I know. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, just everything's going to be up on all the Facebook accounts that you have to be a member of to vote. I mean, it's round 1, round 2, and round 3, and then next week we have first night of Customania. Then that Thursday, so a week from this Thursday, we have Customania night 2, but we also have a very special bonus episode before Customania. Who's going to be on that?
Well, we've got a few people coming on, but the is that the Monday night? Just let me check my list. Sorry, 1 second. So yes, the 28th we've got Customania, and yes, on the July the 5th episode we've got B.D. Haynes, which if you're a customizer and you've been around for more than 2 years, you would know B.D. Haynes is one of the greats. He's regarded by a lot of people as the GOAT of LJN figures. He is coming on the Thursday before Custom Mania to have a chat with us for half an hour. So that'll be great to hear from him, because he's actually laid low for the past probably couple of years. Hasn't really been in the game too much, but it'll be great to see his face again and hear his voice.
I mean, it's definitely. I mean, it's going to be. I mean, you're going to get 4 shows over the next 2 weeks, so starting on Monday, and then Thursday, then Monday, and then Thursday with the finals. I mean, it's going to be an amazing 2 weeks, but like Zash says, you can enter until midnight this coming Sunday. And if you miss the deadline, unfortunately, you'll still be able to watch. I mean, it's going to be an amazing competition. And folks, it's all for fun. Yes, I mean, if you win, you get some prizes, but in the end, it's all about having fun. But for the great Zashman, for the great Tyler Peters, and Nick Bartley of Hunting Nostalgia, Jeremiah, thank you for coming on, and Bill Richardson, thank you all. As always, I am the Pod Daddy. We will talk to you next week. Custom Mania night number 1 is in less than 7 days. We'll see you then.